Mike Owens here. Today I'm joined by Vanessa Demopolous, who's coming off one of the biggest wins of her career Saturday night over Emily Ducote. Vanessa, great to sit down and chat. How are things with you today?
Oh, things are amazing. It's a beautiful day here in Las Vegas, and it's always an even better day when you're coming off of a win.
100%. How are your emotions after the win? As I mentioned, one of the biggest of your career, so I imagine pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, every single fight of your career should be the biggest fight of your career. Every time should be something that like you're looking forward to walking out there and putting on the best performance that you've ever put on before. And yeah, I mean, my emotions were absolutely ecstatic. My family was in the building, so they had never been to Las Vegas before, so I got to spend some really quality time with them after the fight. It was an amazing weekend for me.
Before we talk about the fight, I want to talk about where you've been fighting because I checked the record. 7 fights in the UFC now, and all but one have taken place in the Apex. And when I watch you fight, I watched you fight back today. I don't feel like you're an Apex fighter. You bring so much action and so much entertainment. So can I ask, how do you feel about that, about fighting in the Apex?
I feel like, you're right. And even that one fight that wasn't in the Apex was supposed to be in the
Yeah.
Apex. And it just ended up getting switched over to Anaheim, thankfully so, because I got to jump in Joe Rogan's arms.
Mm.
But yeah, every single fight has been in the Apex. You're right about that. And I used to look at it like, man, put me on these main cards, put me on these pay-per-views. Like, I want to get out, I want to get traveling. And now that I live here in Las Vegas, I'm like, you know what? It's an honor to fight on these Apex cards. Like, have you seen how expensive those tickets
Mm.
are for the Apex?
Yeah.
They're like 15, they're like $2,500 a pop per ticket, right? So it's like this is a very exclusive crowd of people that are inside of these Apex arenas. It's like, it's very private, it's very secluded. Like, you got Dana in there, like you got Hunter in there, you got Mick in there, like you have like the matchmakers that are
Mm.
in there watching these fights. They're paying closer attention. It's
Mm.
so intimate. So it's like, to be a part of the Apex, it's a bigger deal to me now than I feel like I used to look at it as. But I mean, I'm ready for the big show whenever they're going to give it to me, like let's go. And I'm so happy that you say that I'm a bigger fighter than that because I do feel that way.
100%. Obviously mentioned coming off a massive win. Have you had a chance to watch your fight back? And if so, how do you reflect on your performance?
I only watched it back once, and that was like right after it had happened.
Mm.
And I could not have been happier with my performance. I felt like, especially considering the fact that I was fighting without a shoulder, and
Mm.
I still went out there and just completely like I was so aggressive and I felt very dominant. I felt like I could have done better with my takedowns, but with the
Mm.
exception of that, like, I was tough, she was tough, I was hitting hard, like, I was pushing pace. I had her on her heels. I had her running around the cage, trying to run away from me. I felt really confident. I felt really good
Fine.
about everything.
Can I ask as well, because the first and second rounds were pretty close. I think you could make an argument in both cases, but I think the most dominant round of the fight was the third, where it really felt like you came on and applied that pressure. Can I ask, was that adjustments that you made in between rounds with your team in your corner? Was that a little bit of fatigue on her side from you pushing the pace? How can you explain the kind of dominance that we saw from you in the third round?
I think that was just me wanting to go out there and kick some ass and take some names, that was just me like wanting to push the pace.
Mm.
Because I don't necessarily remember my coaches telling me go out there and push the pace. I just remember really fucking wanting to win,
Mm.
and really wanting to like go out there and to create that chaos. I knew that my cardio was going to be able to hold up. I knew that I had the cardio advantage. So being able to go out there and just do what I knew I could do better than her was a really big deal to me.
And then when you're both stood there, the referee has hold of one of your arms and you hear split decision. What's going through your mind? And were you confident in that moment that you had done enough to get the victory?
Man, I was so confident when we had gotten up off of the ground on the third round, and I was like, hell yeah. Like, I mean, what did she do? Like, she literally held on to my head for the last like 30 seconds. Like, please don't do jujitsu with me,
Mm.
and I'm sitting there like, control time for what? Because like you're not doing absolutely anything. So like I got up and I knew I had won that fight, right?
Mm.
And then when the judges gave her one of the rounds. I literally look over at my coach, was like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, we're literally in a split decision. And you just never know at that point, but I was more than confident. Like, when we stood up, I was very confident going into the judges' hands, but the judges, they see things the way that they see them.
What is that specific moment like? Because it is a 20 to 30 second period, and sometimes I don't think fans want to hear the right decision, but they don't sometimes appreciate how much of an impact it can have on your life, where in terms of your place in the division, who you fight next, and of course pay. So in that specific moment, that's a 15 to 20 second period. What are you feeling?
Well, you're not going through all those emotions. Like, you're not thinking about, like, oh my God, like, this is going to affect who I'm fighting next. This is going
Mm,
to affect all that.
true.
No, like, you just really want to freaking win. I mean, at least me. Like,
Mm,
I don't give a shit about anything else. Like, I'm not thinking about my paycheck. I'm thinking about winning this fucking fight, because before, excuse my language, before we're in the UFC, before we're really actually getting paid, we're fighting to fight. We're fighting
yeah.
because we love the sport. We're fighting because, we're fucking warriors. So it's like, to be able to go out there and like do that, like the split decision, like none of that stuff's going through my head. The only thing I care about is winning, is just winning. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, 100%. I know you mentioned the shoulder injury, and you alluded to it there that it was a pre-existing injury. How bad is that? And with that in place, what would your timeline be for return?
Oh, I mean, you say pre-existing as if like this thing was around for months. No, no, no. This happened on Tuesday.
Right.
On Tuesday. So like a week ago today, a week and a day ago, this happened. And I could not even lift my arm literally on Tuesday. I was like assisting my other arm just to even brush my
Wow.
teeth. Like, it was crazy. So then come Saturday, I'm trying to warm up in the locker room and I still couldn't even hit the pads.
Wow.
So walking into the fight, I'm telling you, that was a miracle. Like, when I say, like, I prayed about it and like Jesus is a real thing, like, that was a very real miracle for my life to be able to go out there, because I have the videos. I'm trying to warm up in the back and I literally couldn't even hit pads. So it's absolute insanity. Like, Dana White actually posted, how like he posts like the fighters who are like coming up and stuff, like, like up on deck. I was one of those fighters that got posted on Dana White's page. If you look at my right hand, I couldn't even throw it in the locker room. So the fact that I threw more strikes in that fight than I had thrown basically my entire career, that was a miracle. That was a miracle.
100%. Five of your last six have now been victories. I don't feel like people are maybe talking about you in the way that they should. Is it top 15 next for you in your mind?
I mean, I was checking the roster. I was checking the roster to see on Tuesday if I was gonna hit it or not, and I did not. So yeah, it's okay. Um I'm just kind of knocking them down as they're there. I'm letting Jason House do his job. I'm letting Mick do his job, and we'll see where things go from there. I'm not really pushing anything, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not
Mm.
calling out names. I think that my management's been doing an amazing job of putting together the correct things for me, and I look forward to seeing what comes after this.
I imagine though, if the rankings carried on past 15, you're probably in that 16 to 20 mark, I would presume. So you're right there. Is there anyone that you do have your eye on? I mean, 14 versus 15 is coming up next month with Gillian Robertson versus Michelle Waterson Gomez. That could be an interesting fight for you. Who are the names that you have? I know you're saying that you're not worrying about it too much, but I imagine you, of course, have a little bit of a look at the division at the same time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll fight anybody. So yeah, I'll fight anybody. Like, I know you want me to give a name and like, who am I looking at? I'm not looking
Mm,
at anybody. I'm looking at everybody.
mm. Is that a mentality shift for you personally? Is that something that you feel you do different from the rest of the game?
Maybe. I don't know if girls are like looking at each other like, oh, I want to fight this girl or that girl. I just know, like, for me, like, I will fight whoever they put in front of me. Like, I've never said no. I've never even stuttered when it came to a fight that came across my desk. So immediately I'm always like, yes, let's go. Like, what do you want? When do you want it? Let's do it. As long as I'm not injured, and as long as I have enough time to cut weight. So yes.
How big is the cut to 115?
Fucking big. Yeah. It's fucking big. I get heavy in between camps. I'm gonna try not to do that so much. So this particular camp, I'm gonna try to stay a little bit leaner this time if I can.
100%, 100%. Um, we'll obviously have the champion, Weili Zhang. I know that the title is, of course, a massive goal of yours. Do you feel like once you get to the title level, Weili will still be the champion?
Man, I'm not even in the top 15 yet. So for
I
Weili
get,
to still be the champion, that would be one hell of a dominant run from her
mm.
and a hell of a dominant run from me to be able to get there in that time period. Um, she's amazing. She's amazing. But Tatiana Suarez is knocking on that door. And I have a feeling that Tatiana is going to be able to do some pretty amazing things coming up very shortly.
How do you see that fight playing out? I mean, I know that you spend time in Extreme. I know that Tatiana is obviously based in there, so I'm not sure what the cross training aspect is, but obviously haven't seen her in the room. How real of a chance do you think she has against Weili?
Oh, I think she has a very real chance. Yeah, Tatiana, I mean, even not having trained with her, which I do train with her.
Mm.
But even without that, like you guys see her in the ring, she is so aggressive.
Mm.
She is so aggressive, and her wrestling is so good, and she's so dominant. And she's ending fights easily. Like they're not even a war for her. Like she's going out there and she's getting that check and she's walking out unscathed. So where all these other girls, like we're having wars out here, and Tatiana is just like slicing through everybody like it's like a hot knife through butter. I think I think that Tatiana has a very good chance of becoming the champion. And I do love Weili as a person. I think she's an amazing, talented athlete, but I also think that Tatiana has a good chance of becoming the next champion.
I want to circle back to what you talked about earlier about your shoulder injury, and I wasn't 100% aware that it happened on fight week, which makes it even more uh, magnificent, if you like, that you were able to put in the performance that you did. But talking about the mentality, I mean, a lot of fighters would pull out, or a lot of fighters would certainly consider that. I'm not sure if you did, but to be able to fight the way that you did with the aggression and the output with that injury, what's going through your head in that moment throughout the course of fight week?
Honestly, when something like that happens, like you have to question. I mean, and if you don't question yourself, there's something a little bit mentally off, which is, I guess, would make you an amazing fighter. But of course, I questioned myself a
Mm.
little bit. And I just also shifted my mindset into belief and prayer. When I tell you my relationship is very close with God, like, I mean, I've never talked to him so much, so consistently in a short amount of time, right?
Mm.
Like, and I definitely let him know, like, listen, if you please heal this shoulder, like I will give you all of the glory because he earned that, like God healed my shoulder. Like there's no way I could have done anything without him. And I just really believed in myself. Like I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like I have all of the tools in my belt. Like I've done all of this work. There's no way that I'm not going to go out there and accomplish something amazing, right? Like regardless of the result, I'm going to fucking put myself out there on the line. Like I'm going to give it absolutely everything that I got. And I don't give a shit what happens after that, but I know I'm going to do absolutely everything in my power to go out there and win this fight, and be as dominant as I possibly can be. And I'm going to give every single weapon that I have. And I did that.
I love it. The last one from me, Vanessa, as always, thank you for your time. We're 12 months' time, we look at, say, to the end of May 2025. Where is Vanessa Demopolous in her career in an ideal world? What would you like to accomplish in the next 12-month period?
Oh, I want to have at least 2 to 3 more fights. Like I love being busy. I love fighting 3 times, 4 times a year. In fact, I was just talking about potentially taking a vacation. I was like, forget a vacation. Like I just want to go out there and I just want to fight. I just want to like be dominant, honestly, like heal up and then get back out there. First, I got to see what's going on with my shoulder. But honestly, with the performance that I had, I'm going to say that it's really not that bad. Like I can probably get
Fingers
back to
crossed.
training pretty shortly. Yes, thank you. I hope so.
I love it. Well, thank you for your time today. It was great to see you back in action on Saturday night, and even better to talk to you today. So, wish you a hopeful 100% recovery with your shoulder, and look forward to seeing you back in action soon.
Thank you so very much. Be amazing.